A mother who has completed the ridiculously effective parenting training wrote to me and said, I was baking in the kitchen with my daughter, Audrey. Well, right off, good for you. Uncounted children become adults without knowing how to do the simplest tasks that they will need to do for the rest of their lives. Baking, cooking, cleaning, ironing, sewing, just the survival stuff. Children would benefit unspeakably if parents simply made it a pattern not to ever do a task on the whole alone, if they know that a child could learn from doing that task under the guidance of the parent. This is how children can learn how to learn. By watching, by observing, by watching how you work things out. Learning how to learn is even more important than learning how to do a specific thing. Mom said while we were baking, she measured out the wrong amount of flour and dumped it into the bowl. And when I pointed it out, she got a real attitude about it. Offended, defensive, dismissive, head shaking, body shaking, kind of go away, leave me alone. She consistently does not like to be corrected. All right, well, this is a critical issue for her. If I had to pick a single thing that keeps people from learning and growing throughout life, it would be easy. The ability to be wrong. People who fight being wrong or won't admit it at all are quite simply dead. Their hearts beat, they eat dinner, but they're permanently stuck like zombies because you cannot learn something new until you first admit that your previous knowledge or position on that matter was lacking, wrong. If you're already right, you can't learn a thing. So Audrey has to admit she was wrong. Freely. You stay with the discussion until she really admits it. Not reluctantly, but freely. Because until she admits it freely, she's still fighting. And she'll fight the next time. And you'll go through it again and again. Guaranteed. At some point, after she admits being wrong, show her what it's like not to be defensive and how being wrong can be a great step. Show her in words and in the way you behave, in your demeanor, how somebody responds when they really want to learn. Like, for example, assuming that she's measured the wrong amount of flour again, you might say and show her with your attitude something like this. Ridiculous. I read 2 cups, but my brain just turned it into 3. Crazy. The batter certainly wouldn't have cooked right. I'll be more careful next time. No tone. No, I'm a bad person. Just, that's not going to work. 3 is not going to work if it says 2. If it says put gas in your car, putting milk in your car is going to be less effective. Then you can help her see that simply admitting the mistake, just admitting it, I was wrong, I blew it, what are we going to do next, is so much easier than pulling a cup of flour out of the bowl. I've learned how to do this myself. Taking a cup out when you've got liquid in the bowl is a lot harder than putting the right amount in the first place. So easier to admit the mistake than to have to pull out the cup, to fight being wrong, have an attitude that carries with you throughout the rest of the day. That takes all day long to recover from that mistake. And it's all about the tone you use. And the one that she uses. I was wrong. The tone is light-hearted. And it demonstrates an eagerness, actually, to see the mistake, because then we're less likely to make it again. It's fun to learn something like that. Mom says, this time I made her stay. In the past, I would have just let her go with her attitude. I made her stay for the whole interaction instead of stomping off. And we covered all of it. Of course, she had the attitude and she pouted. And I said that she could learn any way she wanted to, but with her attitude, she was not going to continue helping me bake this time, nor could she eat any of the cookies tonight that we were making. And she really loves cookies. She's the one that suggested it. I required that she tell me why she was being given consequences. I stayed there until she said that she got consequences because she gave me attitude for one, me helping her, which is completely inappropriate to do the right thing, and two, for her being stubborn and refusing to learn, not listening. And then she started to cry. Now, this is where the parents go, oh, I've gone too far. I've been too harsh. I'm a terrible parent. No, she's playing you. She's gaming you. She's learned from past interactions that if she cries, you'll back off. Now she has to tell you how foolish it is to cry because she's manipulating you. And two, just admitting the mistake and moving on would have been so much easier. Mom says, so she told me why she was crying. She was feeling sorry for herself. See, this isn't the tears of penitence. Sorry for herself and manipulating me to go easy on her. It's a game. And we talked about that in a recent video answer. Help her say the one part of that answer that she didn't say, which is that acting like a victim is so useless and time-consuming, as well as consuming emotional energy. Mom says, our discussion went on for a while with ups and downs, and at one point I asked if it was smart to refuse to learn, which is what she'd been doing. She said, well, no. I asked her, so if it's not smart, what is it? And she said, unsmart. Gosh, that makes me laugh just to read. Mom says, I laughed and said, what's the real word for unsmart? She said, as though she were searching her brain, the thesaurus in her head, stupid? I said, yeah. See the reluctance? Now I'm talking to Mom. Do you see the reluctance to admit being wrong again, right while you're talking about it? She refused to say the word stupid. She had to say unsmart. No, the word is stupid. But Audrey is refusing to give in to you. She's refusing to be humble, which is essential to learning. She gets a feeling of power from fighting you and avoids feeling foolish. Now, of course, it goes without saying, but I have to say it because there are some people who are having a fit with this word. You're using the word stupid only so that she can take the sting out of the word. That's one of the reasons that she defends herself so much, is that she doesn't want to look stupid. When I make a mistake, no matter what I'm doing, in writing or whatever, I'll go through and find a mistake after I've reviewed it 4 or 5 times and go, that is amazingly stupid. That same mistake is there and you've skipped over it 5 times. But do you hear the tone of my voice? That is astonishingly stupid. Not, I'm a stupid person. You are so stupid. No tone. It's just stupid. And when she can use the word, it takes the sting out of it. You can't use the word stupid with a tone, or she'll avoid it even more. No, it's just stupid. Mom says she started crying again. And I asked her why she was crying. She said she was feeling bad from my words. She's making it all about you being cruel instead of just learning, which would have taken seconds. In other words, she's gaming you again. She's making the whole thing incredibly difficult and prolonged and tortured, as opposed to just going, I made a mistake and it was just ridiculous or stupid, whatever word you want, to just keep fighting about it. This whole conversation could have happened in seconds, but I've turned it into a thing because of my attitude. That would be Audrey speaking. Mom said, I said my words were just direct and honest. I said, you're not bad. I still love you. We all don't know many things. In other words, we're all stupid about some things. Stupider about some than others, but we're all stupid about some things. We all have to learn. So not wanting to learn, resisting learning, that's stupid. And I asked her, has this happened to you a lot, where you've resisted being wrong? And Audrey said, Yeah. And I said, and if you cry about it, it won't make you learn. You don't learn while you're crying, ever. You'll just feel victimized. So you'll make the same mistake again. You keep making the same mistakes over and over, and then you get either angry and have an attitude, or you cry, or you go to the moon, or you do everything but just go, I did it wrong, and now I've learned from it. So much faster. She stopped crying. I required that she say several times what had happened. Go through the whole series of events, all the parts of it. Good, because she needs it. You're not being cruel, you're loving and teaching. Eventually, I let her go. And soon she came to tell me she was going to go bike riding. She had no attitude left, no residual, well, I'm going to go on my bike, because you've all seen this, when children have an unpleasant interaction and then they continue to punish you. She had no attitude. Later, she came to say goodnight. No attitude. I think she learned something. Sounds like it. Now to everybody. We have to teach our children how to learn. We have to. Who else is going to do it? If we don't, nobody will. Well, actually, if we don't, the world will just crush them under its heel. And learning involves being humble, teachable, and willing to admit mistakes. If we don't intentionally teach our children how to do this, life will be so much more difficult for them. If we do teach them how to be wrong and how to learn, mistakes become nothing. They're just information about what we need to learn. As parents, we must and we can learn how to teach our children to learn.